Hey, greetings everyone. GleeCon here again with another episode of Lore of Warcraft. Stay a while and listen to this next one. We're continuing. We're in the middle of 3 years before the opening of the Dark Portal. This one's called Shackles of Servitude. We left off with Manaroth. Manaroth entering in through a portal that Gul'dan has created inside the Black Temple, recently liberated from the Draenei and taken under possession of the Shadow Council, the orcs, ultimately the Burning Legion. And Ner'zhul snuck out a little warning to the Frostwolf, to Durotan, saying, hey, this is about to be bad. They want you guys to drink demon blood. All right, here we go. Shackles of Servitude. Atop the mountain that loomed near the citadel, Gul'dan addressed the gathered chieftains. He unveiled a pool of Manaroth's smoldering blood, but he did not reveal its true source. Gul'dan simply announced that the green liquid was a gift from the gracious beings who had taught the orcs fell magic. Now these same benefactors wanted to give the clan something more. By drinking from the pool, the orcs would be granted a strength akin to that of gods. Gul'dan challenged the chieftains to accept this gift, and Grommash Hellscream was the first to step forward. Always one to show his fearlessness, the Warsong chieftain drank deep of Manaroth's blood. A hush fell over the orcs at what happened next. Grommash grew taller, and his muscles bulged as powers flooded his veins. A hellish red glow blazed bright in his eyes. With a mighty war cry, the Warsong chieftain howled for the blood of the Draenei. The other orcs in attendance would not be denied this power. Nearly all clamored to drink and experience the rush of might that Grommash had. Only a few would hold back, including Orgrim Doomhammer and Chieftain Durotan. Durotan had received Ner'zhul's anonymous missive, and he had taken the warning to heart. Knowing that speaking out against the Horde at this time would mean death, he stayed silent, yet he would not allow his clan to partake of Gul'dan's gift under any circumstances. Durotan simply refused to drink, claiming it was his choice to make. This act of defiance infuriated Gul'dan. He was already suspicious of the Frostwolf chieftain. Now he wondered if Durotan had discovered something about the Burning Legion and its plans to enslave the orcs. Gul'dan's patience with Durotan was wearing thin, but with the assault on Shattrath approaching, he could not afford killing the chieftain and upsetting the Frostwolves. Orgrim also rejected the offer to drink. Much like Durotan, he'd grown concerned with the Horde's bloodthirsty nature and its rampant use of fell energy. The Blackrock warrior had looked on with horror as the magic dried up Draenor's pristine rivers and killed its bountiful forests. Deep down, Orgrim knew that something was amiss with Gul'dan's gift. To avoid drawing suspicion, Orgrim claimed that he was not worthy to drink from the same cup that Blackhand had. After all, he was but a servant of the warchief. Orgrim's plan worked. Both Gul'dan and Blackhand saw his refusal to drink as a sign of servitude. The orcs who drank Manaroth's blood reveled in power as their bodies twisted and swelled with might. All hesitation, fear, and uncertainty faded from their minds. It's probably worth us noting here to keep an eye out when we get to this scene. I'm assuming the scene's going to happen in Rise of the Horde, although it may have already happened by the time we get there. But to see, because these two people, Orgrim, Doomhammer, and Durotan, are the two heroes of that book, so we'll be able to get their internal thoughts about this particular scene, I hope. These same effects, the hesitation, fear, and uncertainty, would gradually spread throughout the rest of the Horde, or the removal of those things. Though not every orc had drunk Manaroth's blood, those who had would radiate an invisible aura of fell energy. It would slowly seep into the skin and bones of nearby orcs. Eventually, even Durotan, Orgrim, and others who had not tasted demon blood would find their skin turning completely green. So now we're full-on green skin. At the gathering place, the orcs who had consumed Manaroth's blood beat their chests and screamed for the heads of Draenei. Warchief Blackhand would give them what they wanted. That very night, he ordered the Horde to march on Shattrath City en masse. The orcs set out, and Gul'dan infused the mountain at their backs with fell energy. The earth groaned and split, and gouts of fire erupted from the ground. This is how the Hellfire Peninsula is made. Gul'dan claimed it was a sign of their impending victory, just as the erupting volcano had heralded their conquest of Karabor. The sight of the trembling mountain filled the orcs with unbridled courage. In time, this broken mountain would become known as the Throne of Kil'jaeden. So now we have essentially shown why the Hellfire... Well, it was originally Tanaan Jungle. But yes, this citadel in the middle of the Tanaan Jungle, we're seeing how it's becoming the Hellfire Peninsula, just fire and everything everywhere. We've already taken Shadow Moon Valley. We know Nagrand stays the same. Terakar Forest more or less stays the same, although we do have to kind of find out what happens with Ocean Dunes. So we have a little bit to do there. We kind of know why the Zangar Sea becomes the Zangar Marsh. I think that's tied into the storyline of Burning Crusade, as we've said. So we do not know what melts Frostfire Ridge yet. And when Gorgon gets blown up and becomes the Nether Storm, the Twisting Nether Storm, whatever. So those two regions still need a lot of work, and Terakar still needs some. And we have the Maghar. Cool race. I like the Maghar orcs. One group of orcs would remain unaffected by these fell energies. They were individuals who were infected by the Red Pox and quarantined in Garadar. Among them was Grommash Hellscream's own son, Garrosh. Due to their isolation, the infected would not turn green like the rest of their race. These orcs would eventually become known as the Maghar, or the Uncorrupted. So that's cool. So the Maghar are, through no choice of their own, but they're the sect of orcs that never got involved with the Burning Legion in the Fell. But they were those that were infected by the Red Pox. Now Garrosh Hellscream's son, see, this doesn't necessarily mean that they're good. And we know some Maghar are kind of bad, but they are eventually a race that joins the Horde, and they're neat. I like them. And this is a picture of Garrosh Hellscream drinking the demonic blood of Manaroth. Doesn't look like he's drank it yet, but he's about to. And then he's going to get even more jacked. I mean, if you like thick arm veins, just drink that delicious Manaroth blood here that this totally not creepy guy Gul'dan is offering you. I think taking a drink from someone that looks like him with skulls just embedded on his back, his hunchback horns, that look on his face, just totally good idea. He's also loaded down with free Wi-Fi, some candy if you want some of that when you're done. But yeah, you're gonna get uber jacked. All joking aside, though, this is a pretty cool moment when a tipping point, and Gul'dan actually does it pretty sick right there. All right, another episode of the Pipes 5x5. I thank you so much for listening to me, and I'll see you on the next episode of Lore of Warcraft.